You guys, I'm at the gym and you're over here. I wanted to show you what dairy does to me and how much inflammation happens within minutes of me eating dairy. So I'm standing here, okay? Let me turn this around. And look at this. You see my leg there, right here? Right there. It's like I'm trying to get it to where, see that? Right here, how it goes out like that. Both legs are doing that, where they just kind of blow it up. I also feeling my back. It goes straight to my back. See, I have to sit down right now because I can't even do my walk. But I'm sitting down, trying to do my walk, trying to do my workout, and I actually forced myself to come up here because I actually feel like there's something on the heel of my foot that is like a ball. And that's what it does. Every time I eat something like carbs, dairy, sugar especially. And what I had was I had this this homemade soup that I made. It was the cheesy soup, and I had some kind of sausages in there. I had some butter, whipping cream. Can't do it. So I'm doing a process of elimination foods. So I'm kind of like, I knew dairy did some of this to me, but I did overload of dairy this morning. So I'm just sitting here trying to work out. It's super hard because you're in so much pain because of the bloatness and the inflammation that's just carried to my knees and everything. It's going to take a couple of days to get over this. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I have an autoimmune thing going on or just plain old inflammation from foods that just do not agree with me. And I've always loved cheese. I love cheese so much that I think I'm going to have to really cut it down in order to. But I've noticed if I don't eat cheese and I don't eat those things in a massive amounts like I did, I don't bloat as much, of course. I mean, that's a given. But my body reacts to this like this exactly the same way as like sugar. If I eat something that has sugar, if I eat a piece of bread that has sugar in it, then I actually react like this as well. How did I actually get to 242 pounds, 0.8? And how did I get to this point in my life with weight loss? That's what this video is about. How did I actually get here? A lot of it is emotional eating, stress, giving up on myself, giving up on my goals, being addicted to carbs and sugar. That is how I got to 242.8 pounds. And I wanted to just go into that today because I think it's very important to know how you got there, brought you to that point of the addiction to sugar, to carbs. I think when I think back on my situation, I was going through a very stressful time in my life. And I think that whole situation just snowballed into this comfort food, needing the comfort food, needing any food. And then it turned into massive processed foods that made me even feel better at the time, but then afterwards I felt way worse. And I knew that. My go-to was Taco Bell when I would finish 2 burritos and maybe a Mexican pizza or something like that. I knew right then and there at the time. And it's funny is when I was doing it, it took everything in my power to actually go through with it. But then afterwards, I felt so terrible. And physically and mentally, I felt so terrible after doing it and eating it that I would go through with these things in my mind like, oh, I've got to eat. I've only got an hour to eat, so I've got to eat something that's fast. Right now, I'm too lazy to make something to bring to work. And I usually wouldn't want that food that I brought to work to eat at lunch. I would talk myself out of that lunch, starting exactly when I put it in the refrigerator. in the morning at work, and then I would talk myself out of eating that all the way up till lunchtime. And I would reason with myself, I don't feel like what I brought. I don't feel like that kind of food. Taco Bell or McDonald's sounds way better and tastes way better than what I brought. I just don't want that. How many times I have done that? Millions, I feel like I have done that where I've talked myself out of my actual good lunch, my healthy lunch that I thought was actually healthy, but what I was actually bringing to work wasn't any healthier than what I was eating. It was just, I was so addicted to that fast food, the way it tasted, but afterwards it was terrible. And I'm sure that is with everyone that eats fast food. If you're really thinking about it, it's amazing. I don't know if it's just the endorphins that come down that say, okay, you just ate the best food you ever had in your life, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm going to gain 5 pounds from that food I just ate. So giving up sugar and carbs like I'm not 100% yet, but I have the majority of my meals. I am not having a lot of carbs or hardly any sugars. I'm really trying because it's super hard when they put things in your food that you don't know the names of them, that they make. It's almost like they're tricking you into eating that food, but they're putting tons of like fake sugars that you don't know it's a sugar, and they name it this and it is this, and it just makes my head spin. So I've also found out that giving up carbs and sugar leaves an enormous void in my life. To fill that void, back then, I would go on this yo-yo thing. I would give up carbs and sugars, and then I would go through this void, this like almost like you lost someone in your life, and you're trying to deal with it, and you're grieving and all of this, and you're just going through all these emotions and things, and it's just amazing what giving up something that has that much control over you, giving it up. And it's really hard to replace that with something else. And normally, back then, I would replace it with something that was even worse. Giving up soda was huge for me. I did it cold turkey, and I know that's not always good to do it cold turkey. I was drinking Mountain Dew. Pepsi was my big thing. Mountain Dew was my big thing. I did quit Mountain Dew because it was giving me heart palpitations, and making me just nervous all the time. It's worse than coffee. For me, it was. But I gave up that, and I gave up the Pepsi, just cold turkey, and I just didn't drink it anymore. It actually started making me feel like nauseous. And that's one big thing with me, is I can't feel like, not, if I'm nauseous about something, I will give it up. I wish carbs and sugar did that to me, because I would have no problem giving it up then, because I don't like to feel like I'm ready to get sick. That feeling, I just wish they would put that in every single thing that's bad for you so you won't eat it. I know for a fact I'm addicted to sugar and carbs, and they just do not like me. And I don't claim to know everything. I mean, am I happy about my my wins? Yes, of course. Am I going to beat myself up over things that I've done in the past? Absolutely not. I will not do that. But I will definitely celebrate my wins. In all these years that I've had this channel, if you go back to the very beginning, I was trying to figure out what was right for me and what plan to be on. I tried everything. I mean, I've tried even keto back then, low carb. I was even doing a little bit of Atkins on the side. I was taking the pill phenadrine, or what do you call that? that diet pill. I did that for 30 to 60 days. It made me so nervous. I had to go off of that. I've tried different types of Weight Watchers. I've done blue, green, and then I did the most recent Weight Watchers. I think what I've come to find out is that I have to do a process of elimination with my foods at this time. Because if I don't do this, so what I'm doing is I'm eating mainly just clearly low carbs and getting it as low as I can. And as long as I do that, then I'm okay on a daily basis. So what I've been doing, and like I showed you out or walking at the gym, because it's like 18 degrees outside, but I noticed before I even started working out that I was hurting so bad. I mean, and I'm kind of doing a process of elimination of what is causing me to be inflammation. And I'm talking like within minutes. My knees are blown up. The top of my shins are blown up. I could feel the liquid on top of my skin. That's how much it just absolutely blows or inflames me. My neck started hurting. I think everywhere that I have maybe some arthritis or something, it just goes straight to there. My knees, my back, my neck, my hands. I almost was in tears working out, just actually walking. And I told my son before I left the house, I said, I don't feel like going because I hurt so bad right now. And he said, well, maybe it was the cheese soup that you had, with the dairy. And I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that's what it was. And, normally I have eaten just, a couple pieces of cheese with my meal, and it didn't really bother me. But I did notice that the center of my lower back would start hurting as soon as I ate that. And I know this may sound absolutely crazy to some, but I really think that dairy causes inflammation. And I know I've been told this before, but I didn't want to hear it because I love cheese so much. And I think I just have to either get it out of my diet completely, or just give it up. Makes me sad to give up cheese. I don't want to give up cheese, but I have to. In order to feel the best possible me, I have to give up the dairy. I know I do. And the carbs are even worse. You wouldn't believe. So how do we deal with our emotions? And how did I deal with my emotions back then? I think back and I'm thinking, I didn't deal with any emotions. I just basically ate through my emotions. That's what I did. And that's very sad, because eating through your emotions is very lonely, because you eat alone, because you don't want anyone to see what you're eating. I didn't, at least. I didn't want anyone to see me. That's why I ate in the car a lot when I was at lunchtime. And there at the end of my other job that I had, I would bring my lunch on a daily basis and eat what I brought, low carb, no sugar, and all that. But it was almost like I was being judged against because I wasn't eating that fast food anymore. Who does she think she is, That's the kind of thing I kind of attitude I got. Like, who does she think she is? And we're happy that you're eating better, but who do you think you are? Almost like, they'll look at you when you're eating McDonald's as if, you're this large person sitting there, and that's normal because that's what she's supposed to be eating, right? But when you change your life and you change the way you're eating, it's like some people just look at you like, what is she trying to prove? And that's when you got to say to yourself, I do not care what other people think of me. This is me. This is my life. This is what I'm doing. And even when I was out there walking, by myself around the building, I felt like all these eyes were on me, staring, Who does she think she is walking? You know what I mean? And it's ridiculous for me to think that way, but I felt that. I didn't feel any love or encouragement or anything like that. And that's when you got to dig deep inside, and you got to dig and just stop worrying about what other people think of you, and you do you. And when you wake up in the morning, you say to yourself in the mirror, I am great. I am going to go at this day like I have never gone after a day before. I'm going to finish my goals today, and all of that. Anything you have that you want to pray about in the morning, or you want to encourage yourself, even if you don't have that in your life, you have it in you. And don't think you don't, because you do. And back then, when I was 242 pounds, it was the most lonely time of my life, because I felt alone. Like, when you get, my frame, I'm 5'4". And back then, of course I was 5'4" back then, but what I'm saying is that when you're 5'4" and you have 242 pounds on you, you just feel like there's no way of getting out of this hole. I felt so defeated on a daily basis, because I was really trying, because I knew back then, I knew how big. I was kind of in a denial that I was that big, but I was avoiding mirrors and everything else. You watched my videos before, you know that it's taken me a long time to actually look in the mirror and see me. That's taken a long time for me. So let's stop talking about the depressing part of the list. So what I'm doing now is I'm planning on a daily basis. When I have coffee in the morning, I set my coffee pot up in the night before. It is almost like making your bed. You plan, and just making that bed, it just, the fulfillment of walking into your room and knowing that your room is halfway clean. Mine's not, but it's just knowing that you've made your bed. Just that one accomplishment makes a difference. And so what I do is I clean up the kitchen the night before. I have it all ready, kind of like a template of what I'm going to do that day. And then on Sundays, I plan my meals for that week. I don't necessarily cook all of everything that I'm going to eat that week, but I do cook a lot of it. Like my meatballs, I cook those. I put those in containers. I always have those readily available. Meatballs can go with anything. It could go with some marinara by themselves, salt and pepper, and then I usually just plan. So any way that you do it, or how you want to do it, that makes you feel like, okay, I'm ready for the day. That's the way you should do it, is to plan. And I think that has helped me so much. And also controlling the emotions during the day. Now, if you're as high as I was, 242, and you wake up, your day, like my day back then, was starting every single day exactly the same way. I recommend just mixing it up. And that way you could find out what really works for you. I go for a walk every day. That's my must too. I have to have that walk in, or I don't feel whole anymore. I don't. I have gotten in the habit, and it's a good habit, of walking. And if I don't walk every single day, just a little bit or a lot, I don't feel like I am whole. That feeling of just accomplishing one thing is so much greater than accomplishing nothing. And if you're at a weight that you're uncomfortable with, do something in the beginning of the day that's going to dictate the rest of the day. And it's got to be like a good habit, and just keep doing that every day. And you'll get to the point where I am, where I feel like I've got to do that. I have to do that, or I don't feel like I've done anything that day. And if I don't accomplish it in the morning, I will make sure, no matter what, I accomplish it at the end of the day somehow. Like, my hours are kind of crazy right now with work, where I can't do some things in the morning. But plan, plan, plan is the key here. Don't ever feel like you're alone, because you're not. I'm here. I'm here for support. You can come back to this channel anytime. You can comment anytime. If you feel like you're just in the rut of all time and you don't know how to get out of it, know that I've been there. I've been there many, many times. It takes heart and soul and willpower to get yourself out of it. And I am here for you. Okay? I will see you guys on the next one. See you later. Bye.